16 years ago, I put my daughter on stage in front of a room full of telecom engineers. Not to sing, not to dance, but to teach them about the future of communication. Turns out, she was onto something. Let's talk about how technology, especially Next-Gen 911, can actually help attract the workforce of tomorrow. That's coming up next on TiPS Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm an ENP and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. 3 times each week, I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes controversial takes on emergency communications. Today we're going to go deep on how the technology in the enterprise, especially around safety, may be the deciding factor when someone's choosing their next job. Let's take a little time to warp back to 2008. I was at a Nortel Networks user group conference in Mystic, Connecticut, and the buzzword of the day was IP telephony. SIP existed, but was some mysterious acronym, and video calls were still futuristic sci-fi nonsense to most enterprise folks. At this conference, I had the lock note. Yes, that's actually a thing, and decided to bring a special guest, my daughter Haley, age 8. Now, before you called Child Protection Services, this was kind of voluntary. Kind of. Well, Haley got up on stage for about 30 minutes. She schooled a room full of telecom professionals on how her generation actually communicates. She talked about chat apps. She talked about UVU, crude video platforms, and text messaging, all things that now seem like MySpace ancient. But the kicker? Not once did she mention the telephone or making a phone call. But to prove that she did know telecom and had a terrific father as a mentor, when I asked her what the color codes were, she proudly said blue, orange, green, brown, slate, and white, red, black, yellow, violet. And when I asked her what 2 colors we never say, she proudly said purple and gray. So, to all the violet slates out there in my audience, you could explain it to all the purple grays. Now, when she wrapped, I turned to the audience and I said, see, she's going to be in your workforce in 7 or 8 years. If your company's communications tools don't evolve, you're going to lose out on people like her. Fast forward into today, spoiler alert, I was right. Haley's now a professional in the workforce, and yes, she turned down a job offer from a company that lacked collaboration tools and a modern communications infrastructure. No Zoom, no Teams, no thanks, she told me. If I can't easily connect with coworkers or get help when I need it, I'm out. Which brings us to the public safety connection. Today's collaboration tools, mobility, video, messaging, and hybrid work have a glaring blind spot, and that's emergency services. When you break it down, most of the solutions out in the market today are just terrible at handling 911. They weren't designed for it. But that's where Next Generation 911 comes into play. You see, modern enterprises that implement Next Gen 911 provide precise device location. Not maybe it's somewhere on the 3rd floor. Share real-time multimedia context with emergency calls. Pictures, video, building data. Automate the emergency processes, which end up in a faster, more accurate response. And they reduce errors when done manually and decrease liability. This doesn't just keep your people safe, it sends a message. We as a company value you, our employee, enough to protect you with the best tools out there. And yes, that message matters. Because when new talent evaluates employers, they're not just asking about 401ks and free snacks. They're asking, will I feel connected? Will I feel safe? Will my employer care if I'm in danger? And here's the punchline. Implementing Next Gen 911 doesn't just protect people, it protects your bottom line. Reduced response times, fewer negligence claims, potential insurance discounts. Safety isn't just the right thing to do, it's a smart investment. So the next time you update your technology stack, don't just think collaboration. Think collaboration and safety, because the best talent out there is already thinking that way. That's it for today's episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, you can follow me on most social media at Fletch911, and you can visit 911tips.com, where you'll find a complete archive of all of our previous episodes. Stay safe. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every day. This is Fletch. I'll catch you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good. TiPS is brought to you by 911 Inform, the leading next-generation 911 solution for enterprise compliance with federal 911 regulations. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. 911 Inform, making every second count when it matters the most.